So, basically, I'm bored. Why am I getting a bloody message coming up? I don't care. Anyway, I'm assuming there's a red light that's coming. So, basically, 2 days ago, my phone committed suicide, got a replacement. This morning, my PC died, so I got a second-hand one, hopefully getting delivered this afternoon. Still housebound. Now, the whole premise about going off-grid to me is if the rest of the world goes tits up, your life will not change. So if you're having to go and buy gas, go and buy water, go and buy food, going and having to buy other things from other people, you're not off-grid. It's that simple. Off-grid is being able to survive so your life does not change if the rest of the world gets zombified or, you know, whatever else gets thrown at us. So the idea is, I've got enough saved that I could go and buy an island, get off-grid, do that sort of thing, except with the way things work. A good example, the Mullican Tyre. You can go and buy an island, I think it's about 5 acres, 5-10 acres, and it will cost you 30 grand, which is not that much. But you're not allowed to live on it. You're not allowed to put a tent on it. You're not allowed to do anything with it other than say, I own it. Because it's in a Mullican Tyre, and that's where poor McCartney lives. And he's a little bit on the, don't want anyone living near me, man, unless they're paying me money. So, a promise I put to somebody was, one person getting 100 grand together is not a massive amount of money. If you're an addict, it's a lot of money. If you're not an addict, it's not a lot of money. One person on their own can't do a lot. 10 people, that's enough to spend $500,000 on a good sized island and another $500,000 on getting your off-grid setup done. I've been planning off-grid for other people for really 10 years, but I've been doing it off and on, helping other people do it for about 30. And I say to people this, I'm going to give you some really good, if you want to do this whole escape society thing, don't do what Hannah Spirit did. As a short, slim, white, blonde woman with 2 slim, short, white, blonde daughters, going to what is the, how can you phrase this, just north of the Darien Gap, the child trafficking capital of the Americas, as a holiday destination is not a good idea. Because I can promise you, every one of them Oompa Loompas working there at that place where she's gone to are looking at her and her kids as a meal ticket. That is a guarantee. First thing you want to do if you're going to go and live somewhere else, if you have a choice. When I went to live somewhere else back in the 90s, I didn't have a choice because I was on the run. It's that simple. Whereas you've got other people. What is happening to the autocorrect on that phone? Don't care. Anyway. Or am I just really that white? Anyway. If you get a choice, if you get the option, check out certain things, such as crime. All you've got to do is just type in the location, do yourself a little Google search. Location, crime. That's all you've got to do. And it'll tell you what sort of crime is in that area. It'll give you the crime maps. It might not be recent, because they try to hide these things, but at least it'll give you an idea of what to expect. And it is that simple. Other things you want to look at, if you're trying to go off grid, is whether or not the water supply is any good. There's no point in having a spring or a well or access to a lake if you've got fracking in the area. Now fracking is only done, it's only controlled by Irish people in the UK. Only by Irish people. They are not allowed to do fracking in their own bloody country. Northern Ireland, it's a different country. In the Republic, they're not allowed to frack because they know it has been scientifically proven that fracking poisons the water supply of the area. The whole area. I'm not going to get into the whole gas explosions in residential properties, but it causes earthquakes, it causes toxic water supplies. They use salt water to do the fracking. They pump salt water in from the sea into the rocks where the gases are, they want to try and get shell, etc. It goes boom, and it contaminates the groundwater supply. It's the way you've got these gimps. The off-grid UK family, or the UK, well, they're all the same. They're all the same. And our water supply is salty. It's salty. Is it salty? I wonder why it's salty. You don't live near the bleeding sea. It's because of the fracking 20 miles away has contaminated the water supply. It's the village has got the sign. Oh, the village, they've got salt water. They're so salty. Yeah, it's because of fracking. Which means it doesn't matter if you're going for a bunker, a hole in the ground, a yurt, or your ward compound. None of that makes any difference. If your water supply is contaminated, yes, you can purify it, but that takes resources and energy and time. You can purify the ocean if you want, but it'll take time. You don't need specialist equipment to purify salt water, but you do need time. I can show you, I'll show you a really simple way of purifying any contaminated water. I'm not talking radiation, I'm talking any like basic contamination. I'll show you right now. 2 plastic bottles. Other brands are available. The only reason I got these fizzy pop bottles is because for the first few weeks when I got out of hospital, I had takeaways. I didn't bother. I had 6 takeaways and 1 was good, the rest were all crap. The last one I got, I actually thought was in 1980s. The guy turned up an hour and a half late and there was fag ash on it. So, 2 bottles. You have one with your naughty water in. That goes in direct sunlight or in a warm place. You then have this one, kissy, 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 but you have the other one, kissy, kissy, in a dark place. All you need is a temperature variation. Warm, not as warm. You can bury this in the ground, it'll be colder than this one. This would evaporate into this one. It'll take a while, but you can purify salt water. It's not a complicated thing to do. You don't need lots of thousands of pounds for purification things. You can just go and, get a couple of bottles. But I'll give it, I used to charge people for this, giving them advice and stuff. Yeah, slightly different. Drink your homemade vodka. Filter it through my hair. It needs washing anyway, so why does my hair look so white on top? Not that late. Oh, it is really white. Okay. It's one of those things, whenever I brush my hair or wash my hair, it's a case of, it gets whiter, the natural colour. I haven't dyed my hair since the 80s. And that was only because I was knocking off some bird whose auntie was working in a place where they were doing hair dye. Anyway, I'm going to give you some advice about this whole how safe you are, how secure you feel in your location. Because I've had these conversations with people, and solicitors are a good example. Upper middle class, around the millionaire mark, and they all think they're so safe, they're so secure. Because I've got a store, and this door is 4-inch thick steel. And my response is, how thick's your wall? What? How thick are your windows? What? Okay, ignore the windows, because you can always get like metal grids on them. The wall that you have, is it steel reinforced? But it's a wall. Yes, it's a wall. Excuse me. Very nice homemade spirits, that. That one is, it's your standard homemade vodka, sugar. I don't use potatoes for crying out. But I got some sugar beet pellets, soaked them, mixed it in with the sugar wash, and I put it in with that, and it gives a nice bite, really nice bite to it. But I was saying to this guy, I can pop down a DIY shop, or I can go someplace where they rent tools out, and for about 20 quid, I could hire something called a console. Now a console, you may see them in TV and stuff like that. It's basically a rotary blade like this kind of size, with a petrol engine. It's like a 25cc engine, and it will cut through a wall like a hot knife through an immigrant, through butter. It's really, really that simple. I've used it before in my own place, like that I still own it apparently. Can't live there. too many memories. Anyway, I've used it to put a window in. It's literally, you just start the thing up and you go thump, 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 clump, clump, and that's it, job done, put in the window. The guy's face, because I was doing a video chat with him about this crash, and his face was like, yeah, it takes, it's less time than it takes for you to go, oh crap, and go out the back door, than it takes to actually cut a hole in the wall. Oh, right, well, another example I was given. Oh, but I live in a walled compound. Really? Have you heard of this invention? It's called a ladder. What? What? Yes, it's called a ladder. I've got a 20-foot wall. I've got a 25-foot ladder. Actually, it's a 12-foot ladder, but it extends to 25 foot. Then I've got a rope. But we've got guards. Really? Are you paying your guards enough money to risk their lives to save you? Are you paying your guards enough money to stay there and protect you whilst the rampaging hordes are at the gate coming over their ladders being stolen from B&Q? I don't think so. Do you think they've got more loyalty to you and your kiddywinks than they have to their own kiddywinks? I don't think so. I don't bloody think so. And I was given the other extreme. Now, I don't know if it was really her, but one of these people with the usual profiles. And I posted a comment on X about how this so made a big deal about Harry Potter being, oh, so British, so British. And I think, yeah, I might have been British, but it wasn't bloody English and it wasn't bloody white. Oh, but Dumbledore, Irish. Oh, but Harry Potter, Jewish. Oh, but Hermione, French. Oh, bugger. Oh, bugger. None of the main cast were actually white English. None of them. Okay? Oh, but Hagrid, Scottish. Yeah, not a single foreskin on set, I can promise you that much. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I was having a chat with this person claiming to be whatever. And, oh, but what if you have a castle? With a nice big 100-foot wall. Right, okay, it's pretty simple. It's called a drone for 50 quid. I'm talking about a drone for 50 quid. You can get one that actually works, unlike the crap that I got. And you get yourself a drone, you get yourself a 2-litre milk bottle, a little plastic 2-litre bottle. You glug, order milk. You then pop down the petrol station and you get yourself 2 litres of unleaded. You then tie it to the underside of your drone, because they are calibrated for a lift-off weight of 1 kilo, and 2 litres of petrol will weigh about just over a kilo, and then you can and then drop it down the chimney. Now, having experimented, as I did in the 1980s when I was a teenager, with petrol, and you don't ever want to play football with a plastic bottle full of petrol when it's lit. It goes off like a freaking volcano and you get showered. But it has a very wide coverage, as any squaddy that's done time in Northern Ireland. Yeah, all this crap you get about, oh yeah, they're unarmed civilians. Really? Were they unarmed? I can promise you, if someone's coming at you with a crate of petrol bombs, they're not unarmed. They're very armed. Very, very, very armed. And when you've got some squaddy whose balls are barely dropped, and he's basically there on his own with orders not to shoot, and he's got 5,000 people coming at him, chucking petrol at him, because they don't let you on fire straight away when you're doing petrol bombs. That's not how it works. How it works is the first thing they do is they throw about 100 of these things unlit to make sure that you are sodden and soaked to the bone with petrol. Then all they've got to do is throw one that's lit. So don't tell me unarmed civilians. Anyway, yeah, petrol, 1 litre of petrol is enough to completely coat your average room with fire, easily. And I'm not going to go into other little things you can do, like with light bulbs. I mean, modern light bulbs, it doesn't really work anyway. But if you get the old-fashioned light bulbs, the old, like element that heats up really, really hot. I mean, there's little things you used to be able to do with that. Like you get yourself a syringe and a needle, you get yourself about 50 ml of petrol, and you inject it down into the light bulb. So you're filling it with only about 50 ml of petrol. So it's just about cutting into the heating element. Put the bulb back in, and off you top. And it just sits there, and nobody notices. And you don't have to make sure no one sees that you've broken in, and that way when someone comes in, flicks on the light switch, poof. Not that I'll ever do that, of course, to people that have broken into my house and robbed me or smashed me off the road and crippled me. I would never think about doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, you don't need a lot of petrol to do this kind of damage. Oh, talking about petrol, as I'm bored, I've got nothing else to do, I will wander on this light. So it's a case of, if you see these people trying to sell these like dragon fire blocks for your camping essentials, this dragon fire, whatever the hell it's called, paper, it's imbued with, all they're talking about is petroleum jelly. Now petroleum jelly, the most common place you'll find petroleum jelly is in Vicks Vapor Rub. That's petrol you're snorting, by the way. And Vaseline. Oh, bye-bye. Which bikers love. Okay, not modern bikers, because they're all puffs, they're all car driving people. But we used to use a lot of Vaseline back in the olden days. I've never gone down the car route. I'm in my 50s, I've always been on bikes. Apart from about 4 months. It's a case of, Vaseline is great, because, you know, it doesn't hurt much when you shove it. It's great for putting on the threads, so when you tighten your nuts, they don't stick. But it's also very good because it's so flammable. It's basically a gel that's impregnated with petroleum spirit. Gasoline! But stronger. And it's a case of, you get some of that and you rub all the things, it's easier to set fire to. Can also be rather, we don't like to set fire to things and using household objects. I was asked by someone, I can't mention who, Darren, about prison tales. Things that you can do in prison. My prison experience is a week on remand in the early 90s, a week on remand in the Republic of Ireland, and 3.5 years in England in 2012-ish. It was a case of, I learned very quickly that there are no rules in prison, and that the way society works in prison is that if you act like a spoilt bitch, you get what you want. If you try and follow the rules, if you try and do the things that are meant to be done, as are written up to be done, you get seriously screwed over. So I'm not going to go into the traumatic tales of, whatever her name was, who used to walk around completely bottomless whenever there's new black guys on the wing, or what's her name, Davenport I think her name was, who actually finger raped my newborn baby during a visit. Yeah, she was like 2 weeks old. First time I saw her, I saw her being by this woman called Davenport. Yeah. Still, karma does tend to need a bit of encouragement sometimes. Anyway, prison tales. Things you can do in prison to make your stay a little bit easier. One thing you can do is quit smoking. Shit, you know, I quit smoking inside, and it drastically limits your cellmate options. I got asthma, I'm dying. It makes it a lot easier. Other things that you can do if you want to go down the making, I call it money, resources on the inside. If you don't smoke, it's it's too much temptation to have tobacco back around. Oh, they call it burn inside. So it's like, like a half a skinny burn kind of, like half a skinny burn is like 3 strands of tobacco in the dog end. So it's a case of, you can make your own food. Now, if you have to have willpower to do this, and a good example, once every couple of weeks, we would have roast chicken for din-dins on a Sunday. It wasn't nothing much special, but sometimes you get a chicken leg, or a little bit of chicken with a bit of bone in there. You get a little bit of veg, a little bit of gravy, a couple of spuds. It's nothing special. You would snort more than that on the outside. But most of them, gone, more. Bang themselves, trying to rock people for more food and stuff. Hilarious. I don't know why, but I've always had this aura. Like you get these two guys, these two scouts who come to the cell, and they, what you got for me? What you got for me? What you got for me? What you got? They always try and do the Irish accent, more intimidation for some reason. And they're going for this cellmate, who I ended up doing a bit of a thing to because I caught him masturbating over a picture of my 2-year-old son. Anyway, different story. But these two scouts came to the door, like 6 foot, knuckles on the ground, kind of dragging. And they looked at me. We got them in. And they basically just nodded to me and went for the other guy. It was hilarious. But the things you can do with the food, what I would do, I would take the meat off the bone and have that as a sandwich. Okay, you got me like a slice of bread. So I'd have that as a sandwich. And then take the bone, smack it up. Always try and make sure you get 2 cups. It broke, I need another kettle. Like your travel kettle kind of thing. You know, the sort of thing that your plumbers just about fit into. So you got one for your hot drinks and you got one for cooking. But the buckies do it for the gooey. So you do that. You put your buns in with some water. You put in any veg you've got. You put that in there as well. You wipe off all the gravy. That goes in there as well. It's for flavour. And you boil it. And you take it, this little sensor in these kettles in the top of it, by the lid. Take the sensor out, and it won't turn off. It'll just keep on boiling. That's the thermostat. So you boil it down, take it back 45 minutes, at which point you get a queue at the door. Feed me, master. And so you do that, and when you get about after half an hour, and you got this nice goopy sludge, you're making stock. You get an onion, which you buy on your canteen sheet, and you chop up the onion with your plastic knife, or a shiv if you've got one handy, and you plop that in there as well, boil it up, and that way you can make 8 litres of chicken soup. That chicken soup, that one session of chicken soup got me 3 little bottles of Carte Noir from the coffee, and I got some sweeteners and all kinds of sort. You see, things that are restricted in prison, they restrict stuff that have yeast in it, which is a bit stupid. So you can't buy bread, but you can get it for your food. You're not allowed to, you get restrictions on stupid stuff like oranges and sugar. You can only get 1 bag of sugar per person per canteen sheet. Because in prison you get a canteen sheet. It's like a list of stuff you can buy if you've got enough money, credit kind of thing. But you're only allowed to spend so much per week, and you're allowed to get so much sent in per week. So another way you can make money is getting other people to send you money so you can let them buy stuff on your sheet. And you just do, and you can do stuff like double, you do like, it's called double bubble, where you charge them double whatever it is. And you get a lot of people who go in, they've got money on the outside, they've got a bug roll on the inside. So if they want to go and get extras, they'll pay you double the money. That way they get to have extra stuff. Anyway, restrictions on things in prison are oranges, restricted. Sugar, restricted. But the actual things that are dangerous, they have more of a restriction. Sweeteners. You want to know just how dangerous certain things are? Have a look at a prison list on what is restricted contraband. Sweeteners. They're restricted more than yeast. You can't buy yeast. You can't even buy things that have yeast in it unless you say you're a vegetarian or vegan. If you put yourself down as a veggie or a vegan, you get extra food boxes from the government full of nuts and all this lovely stuff and freaking bovril and stuff like that. So yeah, if you get one of your mates to go vegan, you can have a whole new retinue of stuff to sell, trade, give away, buy favours, etc. So these are all things you can do to make money. Now the sweetener thing, what you do with those is that apparently, I'm not a junkie, I don't know these things, but apparently because of the ingredients in them, that if you take sweeteners, grind them up, put it in your instead of backy for a smoke, it blows your brain out. The only time I ever came near any kind of drug related selling stuff was homemade booze, which some got quite the talent for, and pretend booze and pretend weed. Oh yes, lovely. The pretend weed was quite funny because you got things like, what was it called? Not lavender, is it lavender? Anyway, it's this herb that was growing around the prison. And it smells quite nice and sage. It could have been sage actually. But it smells quite nice, you know, it's nice little. But this particular thing, if you wrap it up in a bit of paper, leave it to dry out for 3 or 4 days, and then crumple it, it looks and smells like cannabis. A little thing, oh, the fake booze, all you got to do is get something that looks really septic. Get yourself some chili peppers, which you can get on your canteen sheet. Get some chili peppers, grind them up like mad, like the seeds, and put those into it. Give it a good old shake. Give it 24 hours. Strain out the goop and the chili peppers, and just give them this manky, cloudy liquid. And they'll drink it. And they'll think they're getting a buzz. They are. It's called chili peppers. You're drinking chili peppers. They don't care. They think they're getting buzzed on alcohol. But with regard to things like alcohol, it's a case of, I made it by accident in prison. It was quite simply a case of, I had a little plastic pot, the peanut butter pot, like a plastic thing, yeah? And I wanted to make I want to make a treat. I don't like just having something, I like to make a treat. So I got an apple, because sometimes you get fruit or a couple of bickies for your food. So I had an apple, get a sachet of sugar for me to drink. So instead of just having it, I scooped out the core, took it out, emptied a sachet of sugar into the apple, put the core back on, put it in my plastic pot on the window ledge. After 4 days, it had sucked out all the liquid from the apple. And that basically gives you apple syrup. Sort of stuff you get in those tins of, you know, fruit and stuff. Really nice sweet apple syrup sauce. But if you give it another few days, maybe a week or two, that converts into alcohol. Then all you got to do is keep feeding your pet alcohol plant. Bit more sugar, bit more water, bit more orange juice, bit more of this. And that can very rapidly expand into a wing-wide empire. I've got this habit, I attract people. Some of it I was doing accidentally, like with the travellers inside. It was a case of, I didn't realise why it is, I'd always have one stationed outside my cell. No matter what wing I was on, whether I was up in Bristol, up north, I'd always have a traveller on my wing. And he'd always be outside my door. And I think, you know, fuck me or what? You must be buying me a drink or having a lot of freaking lube if you're going to do that. And they kept trying to sell my hair as well. I can get you 2 ounces for that? Yeah. But it turns out I was there to make sure no one gave me any grief. Didn't happen in, where the hell was it? Biggest prison in Europe. Where the hell was that one? All single cells. Pretty nice actually, quite coasty. It's one Asian bird that worked out. She's only about 5 foot tall, but massive Asian bird. Anyway, yeah, apparently because I got a reputation for helping out people, basically I would read their letters. None of them can read or write, none of these travellers. So I'd read their letters to them. And other people, I would read their official letters, and I basically put it in plain English. Third party, first party, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, your sister's trying to fuck you so we can get more money. Rightio then. Nobody. So I would do that, and I wouldn't ask for anything in return, and that meant I actually got protection. Didn't realise it. When I went down to HMP, what the hell was that place called? It's further south than Stafford. Where the hell was that? Because when they turned Stafford prison into a nonce prison, they evicted all of us straight guys. All of us non-nonces. Well, in theory. That's when they set Rolf Harris. And what's his name was there as well? The guy that killed the Bulger kid. He was in there. He was down as a mains prisoner. That was really disturbing. That was it Venables? He was in there in Stafford as a mains prisoner. The difference between prisoners is you've got mains and you've got VPs. A mains prisoner is what's classed as a standard prisoner. Like me, I was in for armed robbery. So you've got armed robbers, murderers, rapists sometimes, and you get tax dodgers, that kind of stuff. Your mains prisoners. Your VPs are those, to a certain degree, they're sex offenders, but a rapist is not classified as a VP in prison. That's just classed as a normal prisoner. I don't agree with it, that's just the way it works. But a lot of people get VP'd off through choice. Now I had one nonce in with me. Nonce is not someone who's necessarily shagging kids, it's just someone that mains prisoners want to kill. And what he would do, he would go from cell to cell, rob the crap out of them. Cellmates is one of the worst things you can get in prison. they get slashed up big time. They get slashed up more than your ass rapist. And I had a hassle with that. Didn't happen, but I, in the next bloody shower cube, knocking one out. Can I get in with you? Are you asking for your stuff or your mates queuing up? No. You're never as vulnerable as when you're asleep, having a shit, and in a shower with soap in your eyes, with the lights off. It worked when I went in there. He was polite enough. He stayed in the next cubicle, having a wank, knocking one out with his mates, and they didn't try to impede me as I left rather hurriedly. So, yeah, the people selfies. This guy would go in, he would rob everything, eat everything, smoke everything, whilst you're at work. He wouldn't bother working. He wouldn't bother going out to the workshop. He'd just stay there and rob everything. And then you complain, he goes to a next up, does the same, next up, does the same. And eventually everyone clicks on, and then he VPs himself off before someone kills him. And so a lot of the people that are classified as VPs, vulnerable prisoners, they're not your baby rapists. No. These are just people like robbing your cell. They're thieving little rats. Another little thing about prison life. Oh, you may notice I don't get that much. Get it, friggin' leg. Prison life. It's not quite what you expect. You get a lot of people, ex-military especially, and they'll get out of the military. I'm not talking about your fake military people like your Katie Hopkins and your Paz 49, your Bear Grylls. These are all fake military people that were never in the military. I mean, crying out loud, Bear Grylls, your English SAS man. He's not English, he's Irish, and he was never in the SAS. He felt basic training. Same as Katie Hopkins, she felt basic training. The nearest she ever got to being in the military was shagging other women's husbands because she likes the man in uniform. But yeah, you get people that get out of prison, out of the military, and they realise very quickly that they cannot handle civil life. They're so conditioned, especially if you're sergeant or below, then you get so conditioned into being told when to wake up, when to eat, when to sleep, when to shit. You get conditioned. You get conditioned into what to do, when to do it. And so they will actually go out, commit crimes to get locked up. Not because they're a criminal, but because they want to be locked up. They want to be in a situation whereby they think they're going to have regimented, regulated, and told what to do, when to do it. Then they go to prison and they realise that's not how it works. That is not how it works. Which is, I met quite a few ex-military inside. One actually didn't recognise him. He recognised me and he asked for a transfer. That was funny. He went, I think I know you. Do I know you? You ever in Northern Ireland? I think I need to. Oh, and he put in for a transfer, which he was told it would take a few weeks. And then he had a whisper in the commandant's ears. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, they transferred him out that day. So, and I've never done anything like that nefarious, really. But I did have a reputation for finding alternate ways of doing things. So it was a case of, I think our phone really is auto-correcting my hair badly. Well, it could be that light, actually. Oh, bad light. Ooh, there we go. There we go, instant hair dye. Turn the lights off. So, yeah, you get people inside, it's a case of they have expectations on how things work, but they don't tell you how things work. Essentially, you have to be a sport brat. That's how things work inside. You can't go in there thinking, this is the process, this is the procedure, this is how things work, because that's not how it works. The only way you get anything inside prison is by being a sport brat. However, as much as they say things like that, you don't get medical treatment inside, or take you months and months and months and months, the biggest issue with medical treatment right now is accountability. Now, my own perspective right now, the most recent crash, I've only had two in my life, wrist, ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, back, massive bit of metalwork in my legs, smacking into my kneecap. And all they've done is the metalwork in my leg. That's all they've done. And they refuse to take it out, even though it's dislocating my kneecap every time I bend my leg, basically. But then that's how it works. You've got no comeback. You've got no recourse. But if you're in prison, it's written down. It's documented. Now, you'll still have to wait months. You'll still have to wait a long time to get shit done. But you will get shit done. This is why when I say to people, when I slag them off on X, I don't lose. Now, I'm not going to say I'm never going to lose, because never has not yet come. But what I will say is that at the age of 54, I have never lost. My worst case scenario right now is someone kills me. That's not a worst case scenario in my situation. That just means an end to the pain. Oh, we can get you arrested, get you locked up, get you sent to prison. How is getting you sent to prison a bad thing? Now, if I still have my bike on the road, that would be a concern. Bike got written off via my leg. I've made a point of not spending more than a few £100 in the house. The most expensive things in this house are going to be the computer, £170 it's going to cost. I'm going to pay in cash, so I'm going to be haggling. I might give them one of my old ones, so I'm going to be haggling. I'm not looking at spending more than £100 for the PC. The bloody smartphone that I'm using right now cost me £139. Those are the two most expensive things in this house. Crash helmet cost me £125. The other crash helmet cost me £105. Bike kit, jacket cost £160. I've got maybe £1,000 worth of bike kit in the house. But that's it. Everything else, the furniture, everything was as cheap as possible, so I don't have any ties. So I can grab a bag and bugger off, get a burger and go. Or if I do get locked up, I'm not going to lament what I leave behind. It's that simple. It is that simple. So I won't lose. I get locked up in prison. That just means I get a bit of stress relief. I now know what process to go down to get single cell. The only people who say you have to share a cell, you have to have that kind of community, you can't go single cell, that's a punishment. Solitary confinement is a punishment. It's only a punishment if you're a homosexual wanker. That's the only people that want to be locked in a room with somebody else are homosexual people who like to masturbate. The main pastime in prison, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, the main pastime in prison is masturbation. That is pretty much all anyone does in prison. You don't ever want to go poking that pile of socks under the bed. I mean, yeah, you ran out of toilet paper in prison. We did a few times, which is why you have socks as an emergency. But yeah, that is the main activity in prison, is masturbating. Personally, I can't if there's somebody else in the bloody room. I just, no way in hell, I'm just not that homosexually orientated. But these people who say you have to be in a communal area, psychologically, you have to be in a group, in a community, share. No, that is a Jewish psychiatric mentality. They want you to be clubbed together in groups, in places, that way you're easier to control. Personally, when I realised all I had to do was borrow a guitar and then stamp on it to get myself my own little private room, I did it. Of course, they put me on suicide watch, which means they keep you awake 24 hours a day for 2 weeks. 2 weeks without sleep. I was not a happy chappy. And it was a case of as soon as you put your head down, every 15 minutes, they'll open the door and they'll bang on the door until you do something to them to show you're still awake. Because they keep you awake for 2 weeks. It's a constant psychological trauma they put you through. Vile creatures. It's like some of the worst scum in the world are prison guards. But then you've got people like all government workers. All government workers are the same. Oh, it's still going like 40 minutes. Bloody hell. Can I talk? Can I bloody talk? Anyway, the worst people in the world are government workers. For the very simple reason, even if they're not committing the crimes themselves, they're covering up for other people. It doesn't matter if it's military, doctors, nurses, politicians, road sweepers, prison guards. If they see something bad happening, they are conditioned into not complaining, into not doing anything about it. When I was in hospital in Taunton 4 months back, 2 drunk physios came up, both women, grinding the broken bone together because they were pissed out their heads. It was on camera. It was witnessed. Did they get arrested? No. Nothing. So yeah, the government worker aspect, they get conditioned to protect their own. The police protect their own. I got a really good email from the police. Interesting email. Not good, but it's interesting. And I put a complaint in, and I mentioned as part of the thing, but you want to do your job, how about you go and arrest the NHS for essentially committing genocide against white people for 70 years? Like AIDS, primidos, hepatitis. These are all things they've done where they've intentionally infected a specific demographic, white men, white women, with highly contagious fatal viruses and hormones. And the response I got back from the police, the official response was, we are not allowed to get involved in the policy of the NHS. So the NHS has a policy for genociding white people, as stated by the Police Complaints Commission. This needs to be washed, I can't be asked. Right. So what's the point of this video? Yes, my computer broke, I'm bored. And I've never gone live on my phone before. It's actually a new phone, so I thought I'd give it a go. Oh, the sad gifts of life. Yeah, the off-grid thing. If you were to get a dozen people together and they were all to kick up 50 grand each, that would be enough to buy a securable location. It's no good having a secure location. You need to have a place that is secure-able, able of being secured. There's no point in having a place with thick walls when someone's got a console they can just cut through. There's no point in having a moat if someone's got a dinghy. There's no point in being in a castle if someone can drop a drone of petrol down your bloody chimney. There's no point in being in a bunker when all someone's got to do is get a cow, get it to sit on the entrance, and then blow its brains out. Oh dear, you are now buried alive. There's no point in being in a bunker when all someone's got to do is go for a crap in your air vent. There's no point in being in a bunker when your water supply is contaminated with salt. These are all things that people don't seem to realise. They think they can spend money on this, spend money on that to do certain things and have certain things done. But they don't think about how things are going to be in a year's time, in 2 years' time. Whenever I would plan these things for other people, I'd always say the same thing. You've got to plan for 5 years. You've got to plan that you want an escape hole, a boat hole, a place where you can go and hide away. You want to plan it for 5 years. Is it enough? Do you have enough resources to sustain you and whoever else you got with you, your kid's nanny or whatever, to sustain you for 5 years? And the answer is always no. People never seem to realise just how much space these resources take up. Things like toilet paper. Toilet paper is pointless. If you're going on the lam, toilet paper is pointless. Absolutely. It's simply a case of the space that, I'm not just talking about a woman using an entire rainforest to go for a slash. I'm talking about the actual space toilet paper would take up for 5 years per person. And that's not taking into account that people seem to use it for everything. Not just, hand shandies, but also like wiping up spills. So you do know you can get these things called a portable bidet. You can get the usual cheapy ones for like £3 that basically squirt water out your ass. But there's other ways you can do, other things you can do. Like, for a script. Don't need a script, I've got homemade vodka. Wah. There's other things that you can do with regard to just basic bodily functions. You have to think about your basic bodily functions when you're on about going off grid or escaping the zombie apocalypse or whatever you want to call it. If you were to have the right environment and you're growing something that is your primary base resource, like seaweed, which is rather easy to grow if you're on an island. Sip for me and a glug for the hair. then you can use things like seaweed for a multitude of things as a base thing. For example, you can use the oil of it, you rub it around your bumhole and between your cheeks, give it 5 minutes to dry, there's less chance of any crap sticking to you. It's those little things that can make a massive difference in your resources. You could just go down the basic route of doing something like that, and then you're using a flannel to wipe your ass. Give it a wash. Job done. Yeah. But things that are going to wear out. Oh, other things about toilet paper? It rots. Unless you've got prime perfect conditions, as in hermetically sealed, climate controlled, it rots after a certain amount of time. Now you can keep it in a nice dark cool place and maybe it'll last for a year or 2 years, but after that all you've got is confetti. It rots. It's that simple. No, I think this is fairly brushed. Oh, my split ends! Like I give a crap about split ends. Oh, freaking neat. But yeah, it's those kind of things. Like I saw somewhere then back to that off-grid family, the UK off-grid family. They've spent, I don't watch the channel anymore, I binge watched the entire channel, and then I saw like one response, I looked at that, and it's just the same old buy American crap thing. And it's things like they spent roughly 100 grand on their power supply, and it doesn't work. They're not in a mansion, all they are is in a little caravan, that's it. And they don't have enough electric. They're in a fairly flat area, so you've got a lot of wind. So do they have wind turbines? No, they have solar panels. The reason they have solar panels is because it contains controlled resources. Who controls those resources? America! That is why they're constantly pumping, pushing, promoting American controlled resources. It's like every channel you go to try and get fuel. I mean, I've looked around the UK sites, and it's a case of the only fuel source they sell for camping stuff is gas. Guess who controls the gas supply for the world? Look, it outside of the East. America. Even when it's actually coming from the UK, it goes via America and then it's sent back to us. Normally I don't brush my hair. I brush it once every few weeks. Wash it once a month. It's this or tidy the house. I can't face tidy the house. I do miss being able to lift weights and exercise and stand up without a walking stick. Right. That's about it really. Eek. Excuse me. So that is that. Ah, frigging tendon. Yeah, also damaged tendons in the inner thighs. See, now and again, I do show my face. I just happen to be an ugly, ugly bastard. So, yeah. Here's to surviving the apocalypse that the rabbis have said will happen. I think they put it down the latest date as October 2027. Quick question though. If not, could you survive the apocalypse? Would you want to survive the apocalypse? Would you want to live in a world without pizza? Without online porn? Without gaming? Is that the world you want to live in? Me? I've got several gallons of vodka left. I actually made a massive load. I think it's February. For some reason, no real reason for it, I stocked up on a lot of food. A lot of tinned food and things like 50 litres of homemade ale and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. I've got 6 5-litre bottles left of my homemade vodka. So there's 30 litres left. I've gone through a couple of gallons in the past couple of months. So I had a massive stockpile for no reason at all, but it turns out I end up having a reason. So yeah, that is the end of this thingy, majigama, whatchamacallit. Bye.